Who Watkins the Watkers? All right, so we're heading to Watkins in IMSA this week with both the IMSA sprint races and the IMSA endurance is at Watkins. Probably try and do that Friday. I was able to get 1:30.052. I'm pretty happy with that. Watkins is always comes down to trying to get the first corner right. No matter what car I try and do it in, I struggle on getting that first corner optimized. However you want to say it. I think fast folks are going to be doing 27s, 28s probably. I tried when I'm doing these now, I'm trying to do it like 3 or 4 laps into a run on the balanced mode, because I think that's the most similar to how the races are going to be run. There were laps I was doing where I was up a bit more than this, but they were like the second lap or third lap where I've got a ton of battery charge, so even on balanced mode is giving you a ton of run on like the big long straightaways. So I didn't feel that was really indicative of a normal, like most of how the race laps are going to be. It's still on freshest tires, so I'm still kind of trying to figure out how to do this. I did play around with the setup. It's pretty similar to the one that I used at Interlagos. I've got 2 versions of it because I did some more camber for this track on the front wheels, but that dropped the front just a tiny bit. So like it works with the 80% fuel load that you're allowed to take for the IMSA sprint races, but with a full fuel load it doesn't work. So I adjusted the front ride height and have a full fuel load, and then also the one for the IMSA sprint races. Both of them will be linked down below. There's probably better setups you can get out there, but that's what I use to make this guide. So that's a lot of rambling. We'll show you the lap now, and then we'll show you how we did it, and we'll come back and chat a little bit at the end.
That lap was at 1:30.8, sector 3 time was fast. Sector 1 is quick. Sector 2 is 0.3 off your best. That lap was at 1:30.1. Sector 3 times quick.
All right, Watkins Glen in our BMW hybrid LMDh V8. 1:30.052. Let's see how we did it. Coming out, get a good run out of this corner here. And we're gonna start our lap. And the first corner is probably the most important probably the most important one to get right. I goof up a little bit here and keep my throttle like at like 1%. Don't do that, obviously. But basically we're gonna start our braking a little bit past the 300, so I'd maybe like lift somewhere a little bit past there, and then hit the brakes pretty hard. Our peaking is going to be just before the 200. Like I said, I goofed up a little bit there. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna turn in here, and we're gonna come down pretty hard at this corner. You could turn in a little bit later, probably better than what I did here, but it worked. I end up taking a fair amount of this curb here, which I usually try and avoid in most cars, but it seems to work okay in this one. And then we're just coming out, get back on the throttle pretty much as we're kind of coming up to the curb here, and that's what's going to give us a good run out of the corner. And then we're full on it right here, and you can come out pretty far onto this curb here, just as long as your right wheels stay on the curbing there, you're good. But then it's just full out through here. Then our next big point that we're gonna focus on is the turn into the bus stop here. We're gonna hit the brakes at about the 300 and then turn right. Obviously turn right, but yeah, we're just gonna brake a little bit at the 300 here. And we're gonna turn right. We're gonna get as close as we can without hitting this guardrail here. But just lift the brakes a little bit, then come back on them, on the gas. So we're just kind of fluctuating the brakes here. So lift off the brakes, then just hold a little bit, and then back on the throttle. And it's kind of a wild ride through there. I'll show you real quick how close we get here. And that's getting the car onto this part here. Over, if you're over to the left a little bit, it's way bumpier. So getting it more to the right is what keeps it from being super bumpy. If you're just a little bit more to the left from where I am here, it's a lot rougher. But yeah, just hold the brakes a little bit, and then we're gonna get back on the throttle, take the curbs. Then here for the chute is another area that can be a bit of a trouble for me. We're gonna just a little bit of brakes. It's gonna help us regenerate a little bit and keep the car turned in. We're gonna keep the car tight, and then like we're going pretty fast. My cue for like when we're gonna get back on the throttle is this little section of curb that kind of comes in here is just a little bit past there that we're gonna get back on the throttle. So we go past it, just a little bit past, and then full throttle, and we can take that all the way over here. And then the next area where I brake is going to be a little bit before this dark patch of grass here. See where it's a different color than the other grass. That's where we're braking. And just trail brake, try and keep it tight to the left-hand curb here, and then we're just going to feed the throttle back in a little bit, and then full throttle as we're kind of exiting that corner. We'll just carry the speed all the way over to the left here. Now this one I'm a little inconsistent on, but the 200 there is kind of where I'm thinking a little bit past that. And we'll hit the brakes pretty heavy on them, and then we're just gonna do like we did on the last corner, just kind of hold a little bit, and then as we get a little bit past the halfway point, we're gonna bring the throttle in, and then as we can start to straighten out the wheel rest of the way, straighten out the rest of the way, and then full throttle, and then again about halfway, a little bit past the 200 marker here, not halfway, about just a little bit past. We're gonna hit our peak brakes, and we're gonna do the same thing as we did last corner. We're just coming off and try and hold tight to the corner, then feed back in, and we're gonna come over a little bit on the left hand side of the curb here. Do straighten out. I had to lift a little bit because when we hit the curb, it's got a little squirrely. It was pushing a little bit, so it just lifted and got back on it. Again, I'm using the next braking marker. This darker patch of grass is where I'm doing that. This one isn't nearly so heavy on the brakes, but we're just going to kind of hold it a little bit here and slowly feed in the throttle at like about halfway point of this arc is kind of where we start to feed the throttle back in. And then as we can start to straighten out the wheel, we've got our straight line, give the throttle back in. This next corner here, we can take flat out. I can't really take it flat out on the first lap with the cold tires. I have to lift a little bit here, but after the tires warm up, you can do this pretty easily flat out. And then my next braking point is kind of this where the tire barrier ends and just the regular steel barrier begins. And like when I'm braking, I kind of like get on a little early. I think that's just my brain, but it's just a little bit of brakes there, and then we're gonna get on the gas a little earlier than we do in some of the other corners. But we can pretty quickly get to full throttle and come all the way out over here, and that's it. We're just gonna full throttle the rest of the way, and we got ourselves a 1:30.052. So yeah. I'm like I said, I'm happy with being able to get that time. If I can click these kind of lap times off, boom, 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 during a race, I would be very happy. I think traffic's going to be interesting. I've not done a multi-class race here at Watkins for a long time, if I've done one at all. So it's going to be interesting to see like where passing opportunities are going to be and that kind of stuff. I would recommend practicing some alternate lines, like taking the inside line into the bus stop. I'd recommend practicing that and some other alternate lines around some of the corners, just to get some practice at like when there's going to be traffic and or moving for a pass and that kind of stuff. That's always an important thing to do that I don't think I talk enough about. And usually by this time of the video, there's about like 10% of the people who've watch the video, watch this part. But if you're still here, hey, you passed the test. Hit the subscribe button, it helps out a lot. Thumbs up if you liked the video, thumbs down if you didn't. Head on over to twitch.tv/thepiltdownman, and we'll see you next time. Bye.